Yeah, welcome to another episode of the Racer X Exhaust Podcast. I'm Jason Weigandt here. Brief intro before we get into another big hitter. We have media access like never before because riders don't have to be involved with these pesky races right now. So this week we will talk to Eli Tomac. This is the current points leader of Monster Energy Supercross. It will be potentially the longest time anyone has ever held a red plate because even the best case scenario is he will hold it from March through September and then maybe keep on racing. The latest, we believe, Lucas Oil Pro Motocross starting in the summer, maybe June 13th. That's the currently announced opening round date. It has not been pushed back yet. I don't think we'll know if it's pushed back until the month of May. So for the rest of the month of April, we're still going to operate on the idea that motocross starts in June, and then Supercross is scheduled to begin, as of now, that's what they're working on, in September, probably late in September and then into October. That is at least the plan. We all know that nothing is set in stone in this environment, except the fact that Eli is the points leader. And by the way, there is not a rule. There is not a rule. It doesn't matter what you've heard. I have asked, I have looked, I have read. There is not a rule that says a certain number of races must be run to determine a champion. So if this turns into a complete disaster and no sporting events or races are allowed to be held for the rest of the calendar year, it is possible that Eli Tomac could be declared champion because he has a 3-point lead over Ken Roczen right now. But as you'll hear in this interview, even Eli doesn't want to win it that way. He'd rather race it out. This, of course, all brought to you by Yoshimura. That's our sponsor. Go to yoshimura-rd.com and get an exhaust system for your machine. Stuff is made in the USA, so support American workers, especially during this time. Support the industry. Shockingly, we've heard news that dirt bike riding, dirt bike parts buying, and people working on dirt bikes has gone up because people have more time on their hands right now. So that's a good sign. I'm not going to say either way if you should or shouldn't be riding. Obviously, if you were to crash and have to go to the hospital, that opens up some complications right now. So that's your personal choice, whatever you want to do. But I do know that people are doing it. Just be careful out there on and off the motorcycle, around the motorcycle, and around other people who hopefully are more than 6 feet away. And speaking of supporting the industry, support us at RacerX. Keep the lights on. We don't charge you for these podcasts. We don't charge you to go to the website. We don't charge you to look on Instagram. But what helps us support the crew that allows us to bring you this content is the magazine. So become a subscriber. Go to racerxonline.com/subscribe. We actually won't charge you very much money at all. 99 cents for 3 issues. Check it out in digital. Check it out in print. And I think once you check it out, if you're not a subscriber right now, once you get those 3 issues for 33 cents each, you'll say, man, why wasn't I doing this all along? Or why did I stop renewing 9 years ago or something like that? Support the industry, support us, so we can keep giving you content like this. Side note, this interview was originally recorded. We've been doing some Instagram live shows, so if you happen to be around your phone at the time we did this, you might have heard it already, but I know that everyone intakes their media in different ways. Some read, some listen to podcasts, some get their stuff from social media, so we're going to repurpose this right here. It's almost 30 minutes with Eli Tomac. Don't complain that I'm giving it to you. It's good stuff. Dude, we're in. All right. Hey, I appreciate that was extra effort right there. Look, dude, you're just like me. This is not my jam. I'm learning a lot the last couple of weeks. I'm sure you've learned a lot of technology you didn't know 2 weeks ago. Let me guess.
Hey, I'm not the pro at the split screen Instagram Live, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no. I'm going to be so good at this stuff in a couple of months. All right, everybody, we got Eli Tomac here. Thanks for that. The obvious question here is, what are you doing with your day-to-day right now? We got all this time, I think, or maybe it's time to work or train. What do you do?
It's just so weird. It's just like, just straight weird. I mean, after Indianapolis, we rode Supercross for another week, because we still really didn't know. Like, nothing was set in stone yet, other than that Indianapolis got canceled, right?
Yep.
And then you you're sitting around waiting, and there's so much unknown there. And then finally, the word was like, what was up next? I think Seattle,
Seattle,
and then we knew. So I took 2 weeks off and then literally just started riding some moto on Monday because at least that schedule's there.
Yeah.
But even so, I mean, there's so much unknown. It's kind of it's just weird, kind of scary.
Yeah, for obviously much bigger reasons than racing, obviously. But in the Colorado area, is that where you are right now? You're back home, Colorado?
Yeah, back home. Yeah.
Is it? It depends on where you live right now. Is it like full stay indoors, don't go out, or are you kind of able to be normal right now off the bike? How does that work in Colorado, where you are?
Yeah, here we have it's the non-essential is closed. So I mean, like our restaurants you can order to go, but no one's inside dining. Really, like town's a ghost town. So it's real here too, for sure. Even in Cortez.
So now that you know, the earliest there could probably be any racing is June. Feld hasn't said for sure, but they're pretty much saying when we race, it's going to be after motocross.
Yeah.
Are you tempted to use some of this time now as almost like off season? Because it's going to go so late potentially. It's almost going to bleed into next year. So do you almost look at April as September, like cool down time, not burn yourself out time? How do you play it?
That's the way we're playing it right now.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not doing like the full on program. I mean, I'm going to try to ride like 2 or 3 times a week. And just kind of just be in the saddle a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's it really, you know. I mean, I already took those 2 weeks off, so just kind of be in the saddle a little bit here and there.
When the season ends in a normal year, so like say September 1st to like October 1st-ish, is that what it is? Like 2 weeks off? Is that normal? Do you normally take even more time? How does that work?
Usually, you know, we take like 3 weeks off, you know, normally.
Right.
And it depends if you throw in the donations in there.
Yep.
So it's just, you try to get like 3 weeks, you know, that's about it. And then you got to start riding a little bit of soupy for Monster Cup.
That's right. Yeah. So technically, does it feel weird to just park a motorcycle? Like if you were to say take 3 weeks off right now, that would probably be just too weird, I would think, right?
It's super weird. I mean, we're so like just in the groove of going weekend to weekend.
Yes.
And then like not having that, like not having you know, that really something, that goal to chase is really weird as an athlete. You know, so right now it's just like, hey, you just got to stay healthy and that's about it. Stay in shape. Not burn yourself out, but it's just strange. It's really strange.
I feel exceptionally bad for you. And again, this is a small thing. This is only racing. We know that's like this much of what's going on in the world right now. But dude, you basically have worked your whole life, and especially the last 5 seasons, to finally get in the position that you're in. You're managing the Supercross series. You've stayed in it. You're in the points lead. That had to hit you even more. Like a ton of, hey, this happened in 2018. It sucks for you, but now you're in the points lead. It has to hurt even more.
It's terrible. All I hope is we can finish the thing. Like, it would be horrible if the thing just ended and that was it and over, right? For everyone's sake. So hopefully we get those last couple of rounds, and whether it's 2 rounds or 1 round or all 7. So as long as, you know, I just hope we get a legitimate finish, you know, to the season, and whether we win or lose, at least have a real finish, you know, and not have this unknown.
Yeah, because I've talked to a bunch of people, and they say there isn't like a minimum number of races. Like if it ends up being 10, like let's say for some crazy reason we can't do any racing all the way till December 31st.
Yeah,
there isn't a minimum, but it doesn't sound like you're at all like, okay, sweet, that I'm declared champ. Like it doesn't seem like you're thinking of it that way.
No. I mean, hey, I'm in the position to have to take it that way if I have to.
Yeah,
but it'd be nice to really know and just not find out 3 months down the road that, oh, you're the champ. You know, that'll be pretty. It'll just be kind of a buzzkill, you know.
Yeah, you don't want like a nightly news press conference saying all events in the world canceled for the rest of the year and be like, well, I guess that means I'm champ. Like that's not kind of the way to find out.
No, it's just, and everyone would remember it that way. It's not good that way, but you can only do what you can do.
Still, though, it did seem like you've been pretty proud this season that you have stayed in it. You've obviously won a ton of races the last couple of years, but this year you managed. Heck, we even thought, you know, you had a race where you went down, and we're like, oh, this is going to be a bad night. Still got 4th. So you got to be pretty proud of how you stayed in it this year to at least get to the point that you're in.
Yeah, I mean, what did we have? 5 out of 10 race wins. Yeah. So, I mean, we were rolling. That was the bummer part, right? Is when you stall momentum. So, it's going to be tough that way. You know, if things do get back to normal in the summer, and then we got to transition into Supercross, that's going to be a little bit just different, right, for everyone. So Like we'll have to throw in some Supercross days in there. Like if we really go race in September,
Yes.
Supercross, that's going to be a game changer for sure. And then be ready to go, right? Like there's going to be no warming up. Like you can kind of warm up in Anaheim, and whatever round 2 is, you kind of get your flow going. But this isn't the case. We'll be going straight into like make or break time.
Yeah, with a 3-point lead, you can't just take a fifth at round 1 with the first race back. Yeah.
No.
Is there something you've done different this year, or did it just work out? Is there some reason you can point to, like, hey, I figured something out, and that's why the points and the championship are looking better this year? Maturity, or is it just this could happen any year and it just finally worked out?
It's a little bit all of the above. It's maturity. Just not having the bad finishes.
Yeah.
And it's really wild when you look back at previous years and the points lead at Daytona for most guys. And that's not the case this year. With Kenny so close there, it's just all I can do is just try to stay consistent, and that's what I've done this year. Is just been consistent. I can't really point to what it is. I think it's just really experience. I feel maybe a little more kind of just like mentally sound, just during the race and even on the start line.
Yeah, let's say I think was that Atlanta where you had to make that comeback because you were down early? Was that Atlanta? Was that what it was? Or was that Tampa? No, Tampa you won. It was Atlanta.
Atlanta was the scrap with Barsha. Yep, and then it crashed and then stalled and came back. Yeah, that one could have been bad.
Right. So is that something where that played out differently, like even your mindset while this was going on and while you're in like 13th and the bike is stalled? Was there something like this year you were able to handle that a little bit, staying cool when it was going badly in that race that helped this year?
After the stall, I was panicking. So that was
okay.
Nothing really changed in my head. I was still panicking.
Okay.
And I just happened to make it up to 4th or whatever it was. So
okay.
It's so hard to point to what it is.
Yeah, you'll just take it. How about that?
Yeah, I'll just take it.
Yeah. A couple questions from fans I want to go with here. Like, it's weird. We watch from the sidelines when you put on these crazy charges like Daytona. And the Nationals, there's been a ton, like Washougal the last couple of years. It looks like you go into this crazy, I call it beast mode zone. Do you feel that way? Or are you just riding? Because it seems like you're riding like out of your mind. Are you? Or are you just riding?
What I really think is happening is I'm maintaining like the early pace late into the moto.
Okay.
And sometimes maybe in the middle of the race, there's kind of like a calm in the storm, right? And either guys are blowing up or they're going over the top, and I'm almost settling in, and then I make another push, I think is what's happening. So, and then I can maintain those early lap times that are in the race towards the end of the race. That's when I can catch those guys.
Okay, if we go to Daytona, did you think that one was too far gone? I mean, Kenny was long gone, and you had to get a lot of other fast guys to get there. Or have you done this enough where you have a general idea of 6 seconds, I can manage that? Or was Daytona like, this is going to be tough?
Daytona, I thought he was gone, especially when you look up early.
Yep.
Second I knew was within reach. But then once I got to second, I'm like, let's just see what we can do here. But there was only so many laps left. And then one of those laps, I pulled like 2.5 seconds out of him. So then I knew I was back in the game. So I think Daytona is probably one of the only places I could have done that. Right. And it just happened to happen there. But if it was a normal stadium, if you want to call it, I don't think I would have pulled that gap in. No way.
But you're not in those last 5 minutes, say, riding at like some crazy pace that you never hit at any other time. You just feel like you're riding like you ride. It's just you're doing it late in the race, maybe while other people are dropping off.
I think that's the case. I mean, I'm wanting to get to the front, but I think I'm maintaining early pace towards the end of the race is what's happening.
Okay. There's no numbers to prove any of this. It's just theories, right?
Yeah.
We're just guessing.
Just guessing.
Okay, so you are riding a little bit. You are training a little bit. Are there any other things that you're getting to do now because you have time? Like even on Saturday and Sunday, how does that work?
It's just at home. I mean, you get to do a little bit of things around the house, right?
Okay.
Yeah, like just things around the house. And then just hanging out with friends that we don't get to hang out a whole lot in our town with. So,
Yep.
That's about it, really. It's just I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything. It's just it's scary. I hope this passes over within a month or two and we can get back to normal. But it's weird.
What is the normal stuff around the house that you do? What do you do? Do you have the same old honeydew chores that everybody else has, or how does that work?
I mean, I don't know, just like cleaning up stuff in the yard, like spring clean, like that stuff. I don't ever get to be able to get done. So like that thing, going outside, like trimming some branches, like doing the normal stuff. I think that's probably on most people's list these days. But yeah, so that's most of the things we don't get to do as racers,
Yes, we do know. Hey, Jason Weigandt here. Quick break to once again mention Yoshimura. You know Yoshimura-rd.com to get exhaust systems for your motorcycle, but also check out YoshimuraCycling.com. This is a new site pumping the Cialo pedal. This is a high-performance flat pedal for your bicycle. It's pretty much 100% made in the USA. I think they told me one bearing from Japan in it. Everything else sourced and made in the US. So go to YoshimuraCycling.com. This might be the best pedal you could ever get for a for a bicycle, and it comes from a motorcycle company. But these worlds are all merging. So you owe yourself some time to check that out if you have a bicycle, and also help support us here at RacerX. Go to racerxonline.com/subscribe. We've got the 99-cent offer for 3 issues. Try us out in print and digital. You'll be glad you did. Let's get back to Eli. Yeah, you don't have a gardener staff. You're not making that kind of money where you just have servants that you send out there. Like, there are chores to do.
Yeah, and I don't like to go out and do something. Like, I can't sit around. Most of the time, I'm too much of a spaz, so I like to be outside.
Well, yeah, that's got to be the hardest thing, because if we get to a normal season and the series ends in September, to take 4 weeks off of riding or 3 weeks off of riding, I'm sure you're like, man, I raced for 9 months. I can handle 3 weeks off. I've earned 3 weeks off. It's got to be so much harder to do it after just 10 races. 10 races is nothing. You're probably just getting into form. I'm sure you're not feeling burnt out or tired after 10 races. It's got to be so much harder to stop now than it would be after 9 months like normal.
It's just, I mean, the stop is hard, but not knowing. Well, I mean, I guess we do know when we're going to get going, but that unknown is what's freaking me out. You know, like what happens if they go and say, hey, we need to quarantine for another 2 months? Like, that's the part that really sucks.
Yes.
So that's what I'm more afraid of is looking ahead that way. It's just like, how prepared do you get? Because you want to have a ramp up, into the season.
Yes.
Physically, and not knowing that is a little bit, but everyone's in the same ballpark.
When you were hearing about all this schedule stuff, look, I'm sure it's not ideal to have a 3-point lead and then have to race all of motocross and then come back and race Supercross. Were you hoping, oh man, maybe we can get these in May or late April? Was that the hope, I guess, at first?
I would think so.
Yeah.
You're more in tune with the Supercross.
Yeah.
That's what, like, it takes a little while to get in tune with the track. Like, and even when you go back to motocross, like you work different muscles, you feel different, the speeds are different. Supercross is a lot higher heart rate. And then motocross, I feel like your muscles get more worn out. So, now we don't have that, that transition is going to be a lot different.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, if we do go racing in September in Supercross and we get all the motocross races and they plan, let's say you actually win both. I mean, it'll be the gnarliest gauntlet anyone has ever run. It'll be practically like an 11-month season. Here's your silver lining. If you can pull all this off, my gosh, it'd be like the greatest accomplishment you could have. So there's a little silver lining for you if you could pull this all off. That's a lot of work.
I know. And then we roll right back into January, right?
Yeah, good point.
With that being said, though, I would much rather do that than have any of this going on. So if we have to keep going, then let's just keep rolling.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Like you said, you're in the points lead, but you'd rather race it out and win it the hard way than have it handed to you. Now, by the way, I don't know if you've announced this publicly. Are you expanding the family a little bit? Everybody kind of knows. I don't know if you're going out there and saying it, but is there another Tomac in the works at some point here?
Yeah, the first week of May, myself and Jessica are expecting. So, yeah, that's the one positive out of all this scenario is that I get to be at home and be a dad.
Yeah, because that would have been first week of May. Are you serious? That could have been the
Yeah,
gnarliest timing
like
ever.
seriously, like it was Salt Lake was May 3rd and the due date's May 5th. So,
Oh,
I was already sweating bullets about it. But now that's one thing. We get to be home. We get to be home. So hopefully our hospitals aren't overwhelmed, and
right.
that's we're kind of freaking out about that. But it's one positive about all of this.
Yeah, there's some perspective for you. It's like even if the coronavirus itself doesn't hit home, it's like anything. And I've heard people say they don't want to go riding for the same reason. Like, what if you get hurt? What if you got to go to the hospital? It's like it starts affecting all kinds of stuff that it doesn't even impact. So yeah, having a baby, that would be super stressful in this time. Maybe by May we're in better shape. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so hopefully by the time we go racing, baby situation will be rectified. But are you a little worried that that's still going to be getting to the due date is just a start?
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I hear there's a lot of sleepless nights after it's here.
Right, exactly. So let's throw that into this gauntlet that you got to run. Man, were you thinking about plans beyond the due date of like, I got to sleep in a separate room? How's the family going to travel to the races? Like, how do you manage all that? Are these things that you would plan? Because I've got to imagine, look, a normal dad, you got to do what you got to do. An athlete dad, maybe you earn a little extra sleep time. Have you guys been planning how you're going to manage all this?
That's what I've been proposing to Jess is like, hey, let's, hopefully I can get my sleep and, I'll try to do the work in the afternoons for you.
That's right. Yeah, I think your job's a little different than others. I think that's okay. We'll see. Okay, a couple other random questions from fans, and then we'll let you go here at the top of the hour. So some people are wondering when you go to the gate. I got a question from fans, like, what is your general mindset? Are you a guy that's trying to relax yourself as much as possible? Or are you trying to go to the line like angry and fired up? What's your strategy when you go to the line right before a race?
That has changed for me. I would say in the 250 days, I was way more spun up on the line, like with a mix of nerves and anxiety and just more high tension. I feel like, well, even into the first couple of years of 450s that way too. And I would say like this year, even I've changed that way. I feel like a lot more just level headed on the start line. So, I think it's maybe because I've just had so many starts now and I've raced with these guys so long that changes in your mind. I still am, wanting to go out there and get it done, right, and get the wins. But I feel like the stress and the anxiety of not knowing what to expect has calmed down.
Yeah, I remember you kind of feeding off that. Like in 250 days, didn't you? I remember you saying like, I drank a cup of coffee, I got on the spin bike. Like between practice and the night show and Supercross, it was like you wanted to get yourself fired up. It sounded like back then.
Yeah. I mean, I still do all that, but there's still like the mental part of the racing in your head, right?
Yeah.
Of just really just being more relaxed while you're on the line.
Okay, one other thing, the guy you're battling right now, at least for the Supercross title, is Ken Roczen. You guys have battled. It is crazy. Like, you guys battled. He even showed up for a few amateur races here, I think. It kind of goes back more than people would think for a guy that wasn't even from the United States. It's kind of wild how long this has gone on, and here we are again.
Oh, I know. Like, we look back, and I remember Kenny at Mini O's, like, when we were in 12 to 13, 85, and super minis.
Yep.
So, you're racing the guys, all the way back to amateurs. So it's when you look back, it's really cool when you look back and you're like, you see you're racing the same guys.
But it seems like somehow you haven't really had, maybe once or twice, but I don't remember any specific issues. Or even now, I talked to him last week and he said, "No, there's no bad blood. We just race."
That's the way it is. Like, I think we both have similar mindsets on the motorcycle. Like, we're really in control. Like, our styles might look different, but I think I think we both we kind of just race similar that way. We can, I feel like it's like we trust each other. We trust our lines. You're not, really thinking twice about where either of us are going to go. Right. So I think that's where that mutual respect comes from.
Anybody else who's been racing a long time who's maybe a little different on the track? Anybody else?
Oh, there's always the the one guy that's in the way, but like everyone's just like, you race them so long, like you kind of know what to expect from them. Like And I will say the 250 class is way different than the 450 class. The 250 class is just absolute chaos, and you can't trust anyone.
But Kenny, that's about as close as you probably get. Like, it's probably pretty. You can trust him there. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, like you know, you don't. I don't like. It's just, you know, there's certain guys that you would leave the door open for, and certain guys you don't. And he's one guy. I mean, obviously, if it's coming down the last race, we're obviously going to take the line from each other. But it's not like they're going to go out of your way just to clean you out for no reason, you know?
Yeah. Did you ever think, by the way, that passing him late in Daytona, and you only won by it was 0.7 seconds. Did you ever think hey, it's good to get the points lead? That could potentially be the championship right there. It's the craziest thing to think of it that way.
I mean, crazy scenario that way. I wouldn't want to take it, you know, that way at all. So we put ourselves in that situation, and that's the way it is right now.
Gotcha. And then as far as motocross is concerned, you've won that title 3 years in a row. So I know Supercross is definitely that check mark that you want so bad. But is the plan to go into round one no, man, I'm full bore. We'll worry about Supercross when we get there. Or is there a part of you that's like, oh, I don't know how to play this? Or do you approach motocross just like you would if we go racing, like you would any other year?
Well, at this point, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. You know, no one does. So
yeah,
you know, I have to go into it just like I'm not going to hold anything back. I'll tell you that.
Right.
For sure. I'm not thinking about the Supercross when we line up at, the WW Ranch.
Right. The goal is to win 4 straight. That's the goal.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. For sure. Yep.
Okay. Well, this could be the gnarliest season anyone's ever put in. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if we even get races in. And if you get titles and you have a baby in the same year and we all survive coronavirus, that's it. I don't think there's a trophy big enough for all those things.
I know.
Yeah. And you figured out how to use Instagram Live. So even more.
Yeah. Look, we learned something.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks for the time. And normally I would really feel bad for taking your time, but I don't know. Maybe you need somebody to talk to. Maybe you're just bored right now.
There's always something to do. I think everyone wants everything just to get back to normal. You know, you don't realize how good you have it until it's not normal.
100%. Anyone I've talked to, my job, your job, anybody, when we're back at a race, we will never be happier than when we're finally just back at a race. That's all we want. Just be back at the races.
Yeah, it's like, who cares about complaining weekend to weekend? Like, let's just go race.
That's right. Boom. There it is. That was Eli Tomac. A couple of takeaways. I've noticed some things in common with the riders that I've been talking to throughout this, and not the obvious. They're all super bored. Tomac, what it was revealing here, obviously that he doesn't want to win the Supercross title in this way. That's cool. That's cool to know that he wants to race it out and do it in the fairest way possible, which is to try to do 17 rounds. His big fear is the unknown. These riders are programmed to have a program, to have a schedule, to have a certain way they ramp up their training and ramp down and test. And for them to not be completely certain of when they're going racing, that's the problem. You could say that it's the same distance between September 1st and January 1st, essentially their off season. Now, it's not that far off. But the difference is they know that by January 1st, they need to be ready to go. Here, they're not sure if it's June 1st, July 1st, September 1st. Not at all. No one knows. And I think these guys always have a bit of paranoia back there. They're always trying to think, did I do enough? Did I do it right? Am I really ready? So it's really hard for them to operate in the great unknown. The other thing we learned is that as much as we often hear there's too many races and guys are getting burned out, everyone wants to go racing. You take it away from them, and I think they quickly realize how much they enjoy it and how badly they want to get to it. Plus, helps them avoid the wife telling him to do chores around the house, which every single rider I've talked to has said, oh, man, I guess I could, but I really don't want to. So whenever we can go racing, we're going to enjoy it now more than ever, because when it gets taken away, we don't expect it, and you really miss it. It's a little bit of perspective. So that's good stuff from Eli, and really very similar to all the other riders that I've talked to. That's it for this week's show. Thanks to Yoshimura. Check out yoshimuracycling.com for more on the Chileo pedal, or yoshimura-rd.com for more on their performance exhaust systems, all of it made in the USA, the pedals and the exhaust systems. And keep us going here at RacerX go to racerxonline.com/subscribe, and we'll give you 3 issues for just 99 cents total, 33 cents each. That's practically free. Look, I like things free. I get a little margin of error. 99 cents, that's within the free range. Go for it. Go to racerxonline.com/subscribe and keep checking out the website for all the latest on what's going on without the races. Thanks for listening.